And growing up, like, what did you want to be? Did you say at a young age, I want to be a love agent? Like, what did you want to be when you grew up, and how did you kind of fall into all of this?
So that is such a loaded question, and I will give you the answer. I was always like, I think that I really was always, honestly, I was always boy crazy. Like, I always loved boys. Boys were like my best friends. I just kind of like, I don't know, I just connected with them. And I have a lot of good girlfriends, but I don't know, with boys, it was just so not complicated. And I always was involved. My friends would always come to me for advice about their love lives. And it was funny because, like, why couldn't I get it right the first time around? I ended up getting divorced the first time around. Second time around, we'll get into that. That's hitting a 20-year marriage. So
Well, that's
pretty
good.
cool. Yeah, no, for sure. But I was always involved in the fashion business. Like, I loved, clothing, and I loved really high-end clothing. I didn't know if I wanted to be a designer. I went to FIT. I dabbled in that. When I got divorced from my first husband, which I was like married a total of 3 years, he was my high school sweetheart. We were together for 10. We have a son now who's 23 from marriage. And thank God it was really an amicable divorce. We grew up together. We had so much fun together. Just we weren't a relationship that would go the distance forever. We had an
It's
expiration
hard
date.
when you marry the high school sweetheart.
Totally. And
Because let's face it, we have no fucking clue of what we're doing with our lives at, 18
it's
years
you
old.
it's you and your luck. I mean, it really is. And it's funny because my parents told me he's really a nice guy, your ex-husband. He's just not for you. And I was like, my parents are like really being snobby about this because maybe they felt like financially he wasn't, on a similar level, let's say.
Right.
And they felt like you'd be working your whole life. And I was like, especially back in those days, I'm like, well, a Rolex can't love you back and a Mercedes can't love you back. Like, who cares? But they were smarter and more experienced to say that, my ex-husband is a wonderful person, but he really didn't get, the kind of life that I had because I grew up in a very wealthy family. So I just didn't think those things were important. I didn't think it was important that you're going to have to work, that I'm going to have to worry that this guy's going to have to put food on my table. It was just things that I was really young, really naive, and didn't realize. But when the divorce happened, we were amicable, like I said. I ended up, believe it or not, meeting my second husband through my gynecologist. I know that sounds weird,
Huh.
but it's
Wow.
but it's true. And it was really funny because I went in one day, David, for a checkup, just making sure everything's going okay. And I was about 25 years old. And my gynecologist was like, like that Jewish, like Yenta type, like wanted to know when I was going to get pregnant with baby number 2.
Yeah.
No insurance doctor was wondering when he was getting his next 10 grand, wanted to know the story. And I said to him, actually, I'm actually here because I don't know if I want to put this birth control in my body. I'm going through a divorce. And after the whole conversation and everything was well and everything was healthy and okay, he was like, I know this might sound really weird right now, but whenever you're ready, I think I have a great, great guy for you. I thought he was crazy. I was like, is he actually kidding me right now? Like, this is what he's thinking about or talking about? Either he wants to porn off this poor loser that maybe it's his friend of his that the guy can't get arrested. He's like, who knows what the deal is with him.
Right.
And I was like, thank you so much, but like, I'm really not ready for that right now. And and honestly, like he is a good guy. He was a very handsome doctor. I was like, just grateful that he thought of me, honestly. And I let it go. And about 3 months later, I get a phone call, and it's my doctor. And I'm like wondering if, like, oh my God, like, do I have an irregular pap smear? Like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why is he calling my house at 9:00?
Yeah.
Thursday night. Like, that's
seriously.
Weird. And he explained to me, he goes, look, I don't know if you're finished with your divorce, but I really think this guy, my friend, would be a great match for you. I'm like, well, the guy, he doesn't give up. Okay. And I asked a whole bunch of questions. Obviously, my big thing, because I was really shallow back in those days. And, my ex-husband was gorgeous, like Andy Garcia gorgeous. And, I was like, well, like, how young is this guy? How old is this guy? And he goes, well, he's like in his 40s. I'm like, well, is he 40 or is he 49?
And you were what, like in your 20s?
Hello, I was 25.
Oh, wow.
Right. And I mean, like, a good for me. I definitely was attracted to older men, so that part didn't freak me out, honestly. Um, and what happened was, he just said, "Be home, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock." He's like, he's gonna give you a call. I'm like, okay. He's like, all you need to know, he's Jewish. He lives in Great Neck. He's a businessman, and he has 3 kids from his first marriage, and you have one. I'm like, okay. Like, I wasn't gonna be like, what does he look like? I don't want to sound
Yeah.
like, like ungrateful, So, I was home Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. We actually had a phenomenal conversation on the phone. It went really well. We spoke to each other for 2 hours. It went by like 2 minutes, which is always a good sign. And made a date, went out, ended up getting engaged, dated for a year, blended our families, and lo and behold, talking about the matchmaking part of it all, I was home for 12 years, and my husband turns to me one day and says, "Honey, you're too dynamic. You're too smart. I think you need to be a businesswoman. You need to get out there," which means, AKA, you're spending too much money.